for Stillfleet, it felt like the aha moment was, I've always been this kind of white collar knowledge worker, right? I was working in the academy and for research at the time, and now I'm back in science communication and marketing, and it's like I'm part of the problem, but I also don't really know what else to do so that my wife and I have, heated homes and food to eat and stuff like that. So, we can go protest, we can call somebody, but it's like, unless you're taking up direct action and, the 70s style, like fighting from within, it's like hard to know in a way what to do. So I made a game where it's all the fun of a space D&D, you're, shotgunning Cthulhu, whatever, on an empty Hulk. But, also you like know that the company that's setting you out doesn't have your best interests in mind and often is lying to you and exploiting you and exploiting others and asking you to exploit others. And so it can go sort of in a spectrum from we ignore all that and we're just fighting, aliens and whatever. You play it more like most people I think play Mothership, to a much more, sort of, to me, sophisticated game about the kind of noir spy and political agenda of you have all these powers, but what are you going to do with them? And for example, there's powers in the game like Slay. So Slay is basically a power that the still writer can start with. So you can start at level 1 as a space marine who can, hit someone, and if they succeed on the attack, they can roll to hit again, and if they do, they just kill the opponent outright if they burn a bunch of grit. And it actually causes you to feel very shaken if basically because it's kind of fucked up. In the basically the way that most encounters work in most games that I've played, you often both sides aren't really that committed to shooting each other, like the way that the players themselves aren't. Their characters also are like, I don't know, I'll just take a pot shot. And I think that also makes players think about it differently, that they could die and that they're actually killing real people who are intelligent. In Stillfleet, most everyone you're interacting with, robots, aliens, they're people. And I wanted to make a game where that felt meaningful, but also in a sense like you can't just kill one guy and fix the system. Even if you went and found one of the directors prime of the company who may not even exist, killing them wouldn't like change the company. The company's very powerful. They would just arrest you, rebrand you, and space you. And so that sort of hinge moment of you have to make a character who's complicit and you have to think about what you would really do. And I'll give you interesting scenarios, and I'm not going to make them too fucked up, and I'm not going to make them didactic, and we're not going to go into real politics. They're just going to be fun, weird situations. But the company's going to give you messed up stuff to do. It forced, like literally the very first playtest, the players looked at each other and said, "We're going to make our own company, the virtuous company, instead of the worshipful company." And they went off to the races, right, with like all the things they were going to do differently.